Oh my God. Thank you so much.
Word! Hey, it's that time of the year. 4 months of Christmas wishes and empty pockets and decorations and trees up in July. Get ready, guys.
The spaghetti is delicious, my dear.
It is. Thank you for inviting me.
Dang foreigner got a brand new girlfriend, a beauty from Cebu. Met her on the internet, said I love you ×2. She's a quarter of his old age, with a smile so sweet and grand. Now she's got his pension plan clutched tight within her hand. Oh, foreigner got cleaned out by a scammer, walking home from his condo Christmas Eve. You can say there's no such thing as true love, but as for old mister, he still wants to believe. She'd been drinking fancy cocktails that he was paying, and she begged him for a new phone and a little bit more for her sick and ailing mother and her cousin's leaky roof. But he was blinded by her sweet talk and couldn't see the proof. Old foreigner got cleaned out by a scammer, walking home from his condo Christmas Eve. You can say there's no such thing as true love, but as for old mister, he still wants to believe. Christmas morning at the ATM, a most horrific sight. His bank account was empty in the early morning light. She'd taken all his money and the condo keys to boot. Left a note that said, thanks, sweetie, what a bitter fruit. Now we're all so sad for Grandpa, he's been taking this so hard, sitting there and watching traffic in his empty rented yard. It's not Christmas without money, all his credit cards are black, and we just can't help but wonder, will he ever get it back? Old foreigner got cleaned out by a scammer, walking home from his condo Christmas Eve. You can say there's no such thing as true love, but as for old mister, he still wants to believe. Now the spaghetti and hot dogs on the table, and the pie made with coconut, and the blue and silver parole that were her favorite big. I've warned all my fellow expats, better watch out for yourselves. They'll take you for a sleigh ride with the help of all their elves. Merry Christmas from the Philippines. Watch your wallets, keep them keen. You can say there's no such thing as Santa, but a pretty girl can take you to the cleaners. Merry Christmas.
Hey, what is going on, guys? Let me get this off air. There we go. What is going on, guys? Few things today that I will address, and I'm sure you're all waiting, like with bated breath. And as you can see, George is not here. I told you guys last year that he was going to appear when he was going to appear, and when he's in Tampo, he definitely will not appear. So he's been in Tampo. I expect it to go on for a few weeks, and so as somebody already said multiple times, the show must go on. It just wasn't going on that day. So, and I was not going to not do a live stream. These are usually our days to do it. So, so for those that know us, there was a few people that left stupid comments like, "Oh my God, this is so unprofessional," and you guys are to be professionals. And it's like, bitch, this isn't Disney Plus. Okay, this is Trauma Plus. Okay, so if my man's going to attack me before a live stream, or we're fighting, and then he wants to carry it into the live stream, and we're already set up, that's the way it's going to go. I don't care who's in the way. So that's just the way it went down, you know what I mean? So, of course, we made up, but I've told you guys that George appears when he wants to, does what he wants to, and these issues are somewhat common and uncommon. For me, it's just been a little bit more difficult with the Filipino. So I've been trying to adjust over the years to somebody that just totally shuts down. And I've noticed it's common. So like he'll either run off to his family's house, or he'll just go to his office and disappear for hours or an entire day at a time. And this is issues on both sides. So, but besides that, hate to disappoint somebody. Everything is still okay. So everything was good just about as quick as we get off air. So I'm not trying to sell essential oils. I'm not trying to like push Barbie dolls and everything on this. We had a fight about 5 months ago. I just looked at it. It was on air. Before that, I've popped off over YouTubers. And that's probably been about 2 years ago. But it happens. And I'm not going to hide it. I'm not going to sit here and smile about it. So I apologize to our regular viewers, and I apologize to those that were there. I had apologized to the host. George was ill prepared. He did not have any clue about the topic, okay, at all. Like, he didn't know anything about the expats. He didn't know anything who she was. And for 2 days, I'd been talking to him about it. So that's how bad, for no reason, he tunes out. So that's all I can say. And but that's it. And so on with the topic. Okay, so today we will cover what we are. I did not bring the guests back on. I have still shots of the gentleman and the topic of forgotten foreigners, or in general, the homeless epidemic. I have a few stories to tell about a few of them, including a YouTuber, which I was thinking about doing a live just based on the guy, because he's got a whole nother set of issues. So technically he's not homeless. He is a refugee here, but he's not following through with things for like business licensing. He's running a food truck and everything. He wants on the Rafi Tulfo show, but I'm gonna throw him in there because he's had issues and he needs the money. So he's selling small amounts of food on the street to survive. So, this is a struggle of actual expats that are here. So I've come up with about 7 things that are causing this. A lot of these could happen to any of us. And so that's what's actually going on. So let's see how I want to do this. So what'd you guys think of getting you guys going on Christmas already? It's true. 1st of July, in about 2 weeks, they'll put up Christmas decorations. So we're getting close. And then for 4 months, it'll go on. It will go on. And so it's where it actually is. So, and so I see people, do you make money off of this? Good question, troll. Randomly, somebody comes up and asks, do we make money? Absolutely not. So the channel has been and always has been in George's name. It goes into his bank account. When the money comes in, goes right into the pets. It doesn't go, for whatever when we get money. So we've mentioned this before. No, we've been in this for about 5 years. It brings in a few $100s a month, including sticker money. So not really. And I don't. So I do this just because I've already said that. I do this for free and insult people for free and attack for free. So that's just where it is. And that's just where it is. So, I mean, for those that made the complaints about what happened, I'm like, dude, you guys clicked on our show and then you want to complain. It's been a roller coaster ride. Everybody already knows that you can't stop this train. And I warned George. And I'm not going to hide it. It's like, I warned you, please, George, calm down, pipe down, stop getting upset. It was something simple. And there were 10 other things that we were like going through before we came on. I'm like, dude, pipe it down. And I'm telling you, Filipinos are not the easiest to live with. They or somebody or him use that turtle thing. Not really. They can also come out of the shell and bite you. So they're the nicest people, don't get me wrong, and it's not everybody. But I'm telling you. And so they are very deflective, like they try to avoid the confrontation, but they seem like they're just drifting through life. So you can't stop everything in life for months at a time and ignore somebody all the time and not even deal with basic life. So that's what's been going on. So it's frustrating, but I love my husband. It's frustrating when I do stuff like that, or I have to say 10 times about doing something. Sure, he's tuned me out. Sure, he considers me a bitch. but it's just where it is. He's also a Filipino, just like I'm an American woman. So again, I appreciate everybody dropping in. So, and I figure most of this will be about that, but I will only address it so long. So that's why I'm here and he's not. And he'll be back through. I trust and believe he will, and he can. And he's been answering some of the comments. So I go in and most of them have been answered. So wait, can't we just get along? Well, dude, there's only one person. So, hey, what's going on, Lack of Spot? Smoothly made a video about, well, sure, there was a lot of them. So unfortunately, thank you for the advertisement. We don't care about that. I don't care about that. As a matter of fact, we don't even, unless somebody like you that says it. I know there are a few of them out there that did, because it comes up like in the feed, it'll show under our stuff that people are trying. All you're doing is doing free advertisement, honey, including Mr. Old Cracker and Prune out in the province that used everybody from Mike and Americans, and it's funny, but we won't listen to that stuff. It's really, there's no use, and most of them, including Smoothly, want us to sit there and go through and put their stuff up and do it for their own advertisement. So whatever. The truth is that their woman and them, or they have went through something similar. Don't care. I really, you think I give that care? No. Actually not. Of course. Yeah. Sure. I mean, he's done it before. I mean, you guys have seen him on air. Clearly, some of the stuff that he's done. So instead, he just shuts down and won't address. And then if I address him on air, then he shuts down. I'm like, you couldn't have used that before the live stream or 30 minutes before the live stream. If you'd have done all that, then it'd been calm when we came on, but he wouldn't stop. So it carried on. Hey, what's going on, Gio? Good morning. And at least we don't hide it. Those that are sitting there pretending everything is okay, those, I mean, I get there's a limit. I was mad that day. And for those that sit there like them mountain people and all those other ones, now the closest one I know that does it is Dave and Rose, and even then a lot of it's not out there. But sorry, you ain't gonna sit there and school me right before you come on. And I asked once again to stop. There was nothing wrong. George insists on schooling somebody in 8 different ways. And I'm like, okay, I got it. And I can't handle that. Not as long as he goes on. And I was like, and before that, he called me a dozen names. You guys have no idea, just like we have no idea about David and Rose. We've said this. There's always a third side. Always a third side to the mountain people. I guarantee that old dude holds money over her head. He's drinking. She's taking a lot of care of him and all that. My whole point was her cheating. Same with us. We're not perfect. So it's just where it is. Those that are covering it have zero life. Okay. And it's just giving us advertisement. That's all. So you see me here. It didn't stop me from coming on. Filipino guys don't have Tampo. They have Topac. I don't know what Topac is. Yeah. Did you tell AI to give you a picture of Mel Gibson? No, it was supposed to be just Expats. I know it kind of does, doesn't it? Yeah. George has Tampo when he wants to explore other options in Angeles City. Not really. Hello, Maximus. We have not seen you in a while. And not really. I wish. You think I'm one that I wish. So that's not what's actually... No. Nope. And I believe it's been broken down by MYK and Mike. You've got alpha and beta males, and it's like he doesn't want to do either. Actually, I know where he drifts into the beta. George is not, he just doesn't want to. To me, he just wants to drift. And he's made that well aware since he left the United States. He worked his butt to death in his previous marriage and when we first met, and then he did nothing but work, and he's one of those guys that put himself into the work and they don't pay attention to nothing else. He didn't know when things were going on, when bills were being paid, all this other stuff. That's just where it is. I'm one that goes through and does everything, and you can't have two people that are alpha. You can't have, and he was never like that in the beginning. He's looking for somebody to take care of him, and that's why he loves me. I didn't want to do that. I've dated men that are alphas. That's what I was kind of looking for, but it just didn't pull through. So we just support each other. So, but no, George ain't going nowhere. I never known a Filipino or Filipino to accept responsibility without always deflecting. And what about his? That's what I'm dealing with now. And you guys, for those, this isn't new. This isn't me talking behind George's back. This isn't me making stuff up. You guys have seen me. Nothing changed. I've done worse on air. And George has a way where he just goes through, and he just has this thing, and he won't, and he hasn't. From the last couple years, he will say he's sorry about some things, but never about hardcore stuff. Never, ever, or responsibility. Right now, he's bringing up 10 different things that's happened in the last 5 years, and he goes way back. That day before he came on air, he was talking about something, a whole incident that happened when we had the internet set up at the other house, and he wasn't answering the phone. He told me something that goes somewhere along the line of his car, the globe was not picking up in that area. He didn't answer me for a few hours. I needed things where I was. I needed things answered. We had just arrived in town. I didn't know anything, so I had to ask him stuff when he wasn't answering his phone, and he was gone for a few hours. It became a whole argument about that. Married life. And he still mentions that. So there's so many things, and I'm like, dude, just drop that. I don't go back and talk about stuff that happened in Florida. I just don't. And there was stuff that happened. It's a relationship. So blame it on the moon. It's a full one. It could be. The cats have been acting weird. It's been a lot going on. I was wondering, the cats have been playing the last few nights, jumping over us in bed, and it's kind of crazy. Hey, I love your channel because it's raw and unscripted. Every couple has disagreements and arguments. Yeah, and here's the thing. I'll tell you right now, I wasn't going to go this far into it, but this is a live stream. Most people said, get a divorce from her, and I wouldn't deal with that, and we knew she would show her true colors. And they were like, oh, George, you need to leave her. And everything was pro-George. And it's like, it doesn't matter what I tell you about what he's done to me. If I told you guys part of this stuff, it's not going to be any win for me. That's for sure. It doesn't matter. Am I a nagging bitch sometimes? Oh, yes. I'm going to tell you that. I wouldn't have to nag if he would do things and help with things. And George just since forever, like especially this past year. That's why I kept mentioning the past year. Once we had a major fight over a year ago, he just stopped doing anything. He won't record the videos. He won't, it's a hard time. He's either in a good mood or not. He is very moody. I'm moody. So when you put two moody people together, it's not good, but we're not going to divorce over it. We're not, it's just where it is. We're not cheating on each other. So it's, unfortunately, it's just been a roller coaster ride. But with Filipinos, there's zero communication. I'm getting zero from him. It's like talking to a brick wall, and he will tune you out with the most. That's why I always say you insensitive prick, because he won't. Like, I've never felt more alone in a room than I have with George right now. It's because he just like a kid. Like, he reminds me of my son when he was 12 years old and you couldn't get him off the PlayStation. That's George right now. He's the sweetest guy, and I love him. But things like this and him not appearing, I bet he doesn't appear for a month. Who are you punishing right now? What is the deal? What is the outcome? We're living everyday life with each other, but you're not going to do that. So it doesn't make any sense, but there's nothing I can do. And I'm going to do the show. I'm not getting paid. It's not in my name. I can appear and do whatever I want, but I've been doing it. It's now habit. It's just where it is. I don't have that Filipino switch to just sit there with stoicism, like Mike would say. Not Mike as in our Philippine journey, the other MYK. He was like, oh, just have stoicism. And to an extent, I can't sit there and do that. I don't have a thing to walk away and not talk to somebody for a week at a time. He has disappeared for a week at a time at the family home, and I know that's where he is. I know that. I know 100% for a fact. But it's just where that's what I'm dealing with. And you guys, to up to this point, didn't even have that much information. Especially since we came to the Philippines, I've lost some form of leverage, and he knows that he has, especially with me sick. Just where it is. Hey, what's going on, John Ryder? Good morning. I only care about the backside drop of the mic. Hey, what's going on with the backside drop of the mic? Oh, is it in the way? Dun, dun, dun. What is going on? Hey, Curtis. Good morning. Hey, good morning, Rob and Mario. And Gio would know this. He's dated enough Filipinos. Gio, have you had where they literally do not talk to you for an entire day? And then he'll turn around and tell me that I don't make you feel any sort of way when I don't talk to you. And I'm like, but you do. So he will argue for an hour about that by itself. And I'm like, George, we got stuff to do. There are animals to take care of. We have things going on. We're dealing with the channel. Like, he'll stop everything. He won't help with anything. And then because I mentioned that, then he won't do nothing for a few more days. And it's like, so immature. That's what I'm dealing with. Like I said, what you guys know about me is I'm a bitch. You're damn right. That's what you got. But every day I strive and get up. I get over it the next day or within a few hours. I admit my guilt, mean everything, and I continue with my day. Dishes, cooking, bringing him drinks, taking care of the pets, cleaning house, dealing with stuff that's going on. Everyday things, like he would say. But I don't get to shut down like he does and stay up all night or not do anything. I wish I had the ability to sleep the way he does. He literally can sleep all day. It's just the way it is. So I have to continue on with responsibilities. And that's just where I am. How often did Maya have Tampo? Could only imagine. Sigma male, I don't know what that is, Maximus. But good to see you back, Maximus. That's all I know. And he shows that on air. And people have said that. But when this all happened, and I got upset at the very end, said, screw that. Because the reason I wasn't going to carry on with the live, and even with the girl, is I fully apologized and meant that to the girl. And she even offered to come back on today. But I knew I'd be explaining and then going through this topic afterwards. And she was in there right away. You know, I said, come 30, 40 minutes after the live stream starts. That way we can go in and talk. Me and George might have piped down some, but she's in there in cap lock saying, come on, let me in and stop this. And she's like in full caps, screaming is what I seen at us at the same time. And I get it, but shit, girl, this ain't my job. I don't have to do nothing, be professional. No, I'm not working for the embassy and got sponsors and all my shit's going to drop off. And no, hell no, this ain't CNN, hon. So it's, you know, but I knew that I was wrong for that. But at the time that he's sitting there, it's like, dude, you don't know anything about the live. I've been trying to tell you about the topic. So you're just going to leave her dangling in the room and just do this Filipino thing? I mean, was you guys going to start TikToking together? Or he left her in the room as the comments were coming in. Where were you going with that? It was just, you know, talk about wasting her time. It just, from the beginning when it all started, it should have just got closed down. Wrong way, but I'm not pushing essential oils and bacon, bitches. That's the bitch. This isn't Disney Plus. This isn't Netflix love. Shit. This whole entire country is karma, man. Coming back. It's, you know, life is too short. I got over it. He'll carry on. I'm telling you, it seems to be a Filipino thing. This may even go on for months. Who knows? He's here in marriage spirit, but he'll do, you know, whatever. But I again asked him today and he chose not to. And I said, okay, George, you're still carrying on. I haven't gotten a real apology, you know. It's just where this is what I've been dealing with ever since we came in the country. There was a total switch flip, including during the lockdown. They separately locked us down, and he didn't even come out for his food. Yes, he was resting. Yes, he was sick. Well, so was I, but I continued things. We were doing things with the channel, and he wouldn't even come out of the room. And then finally, when he did, he turned on me and screamed and cussed me out there at the hotel. Again, I was dealing with it. The moment we came into this country, it's been a mess. I just think it's time. We're getting near the vacation. Our birthday month's coming up. It seems like we got this way last year. It was 5 or 6 months ago we had our last one on air. Gio said too often. So, what's going on? Gio is human, right? Most do it though, just different extremes. Yeah, I just didn't think like, yeah, but I bet you Maya though, does she continue to cook and clean or do things, or does she totally shut down? I can't. Who's going to do the rest of the stuff in the house? Like, there's been a point where I've been so sick that I still had to get up and do everything, and that didn't matter to him. He doesn't adhere to anything, even on my sickest day. If he's in Tampo, I get shit like Ziola, Bola, nothing. That's just where it is. Tampo is a negotiation tactic, not for George. It's not. It's a way of life. It's his full-time job. It's his full-time job. For the past year, it's been extreme. And so when he's that extreme, then I become extreme because I'm getting less and less. So then because I mentioned that he didn't do a few things or he's not, I just feel like I'm now dealing with not a spouse, but, I'm dealing with. But here's the thing. Most of the time, I know it sounds like it, we're getting along. If I just deal with life with George, like if we're just doing the board games and lovemaking and going out and doing stuff, as long as you don't say nothing to George, he'll smile all the time. But the moment you ask him, that's where it becomes a problem. You can't ask him or remind him or none of it. And I can't sit around and not say nothing about stuff that's going on. So that's just it. I don't have anybody to really, there is zero communication for a while. And it's all been one-sided. So if the subject isn't there and it's just like we're watching a movie, then he's okay. If we're out at the mall, then it's okay. But if I ask for something to be done, or how was your day? What did you do while you were at your family house with no nagging? Scout's honor on my grandkids and kids. That's when he freaks out. And it's like, dude, I was just asking. And basically, it's none of my business. His bank account's nothing, none of my business. But he knows all of my business. That, in my opinion, has been a lot of Filipinos. Not all, but some that I've known about. So now you guys have an ideal. Don't give a shit who knows or where the judgment came from or what dumbass, channels. Because again, we're not going to watch it. We know that there are some, and I was like, yes, they're advertising. Every time you do that, the numbers go up. All I care about is the numbers. I don't get paid. We don't get paid more for numbers. We have had the pretty much same loyal viewers, same numbers for about 2 years. And we have access to Google. We still have the manager. All this goes on, but it does and doesn't change anything. It doesn't change the amount of money. I talk shit about people for free, dudes. That is for sure. But you ain't gonna come on and treat me like that and call me a stupid bitch and other things right before the live and keep calling me dumb and stupid and talk down on me, for right before the live, and then insist you know a software when you're not even participate, like you don't even know about the software. And so it was odd. It was extremely odd. Yes, it was disrespectful the way I went off, and sorry to the Ravens. But keep on putting the content out. Please do. Especially Mr. Cracker and Prune with the age gap relationship that just loves to grab onto things because others have grabbed onto him. That dude is the most boring old dude I've ever seen. Don't know what he's saying. I just know that he took our thumbnail, and I'm like, I bet he said some stupid shit. Stupid shit. The word topak is Tagalog slang term commonly used in the Philippines. It generally refers to a state of crazy, having a strange, irrational behavior, of being in a bad mood. Something's up. I actually said he's going through menopause or something. And it doesn't help that anybody that's married right now, ask yourself, if you ask your wife or husband about their day and they won't answer at all, does it not look suspicious? If you ask what happened, this, or how was your night, I don't get a good morning. I don't get a good night. This is every day when we're getting along. We could just have lovemaking, like the greatest in the world, and he won't say good night. He won't say good morning. He goes silent for half the day, and then he'll talk to me at 1 o'clock. And it's like, mm-mm, sorry. I might have had a husband that had been out unemployed for a while when I was in the United States, and that used to drive me nuts. But at least we got along with everything else. No, George is fully retired, does part-time, like with his gaming and other things that he does, but it's not real employment. So he's basically been unemployed. And so he gets to do whatever. So he has the freedom, and then all of this. And so there's a lot going on. But yes, there is some sort of bad mood. People don't have the full thing. And I actually thought about that. I was talking with my friend Sarah. Sarah's here in the room, and she pretty much said go in with an explanation, a slight one, and then move on from it. And I'm like, that's fine, but it is, people know enough. It was already on air, and hell, I don't mind. I'm hyped on caffeine. Matter of fact, I need more caffeine. So got a couple different things going on here. Brought plenty of drinks. George is negotiating. He wants time off to play. You know what? I'm glad you mentioned that, because according to him, every 3 days I go off. And I do. I mean, there's a limit. Like, I'll bitch about the heat, or like our bathroom's been clogged. Both drains are clogged in the bathroom. So now I'm dealing with that. I'm dealing with it. And so anything came up, like the electrical plugs, he had me deal with it. And I'm like, see, that'll give you guys an idea. I'm dealing with it. Generator is still broken. That's for me to deal with. On top of everything, he just stopped. And he said it's because I complained about one thing, because I like the lights and the live stream. He won't turn on the panel for the audio. He won't set a light up in here, because one time I said that the light was in the wrong direction. So then he just stopped turning on the lights. It's crazy. So he'll never turn the lights on again. And I'm like, that is behavior of a child. But because I love him and care, it's not a reason. So is the relationship where a few, and I call them trolls because they were new accounts, said how toxic it was? Well, yes, I kind of consider both sides if it gets to that point and we're like that on air, but it's not 24/7 like that. But I do feel there's something Filipino, because I've dated enough people and been married a few times to know this is not normal. There is zero communication. And then at that point, I'm frustrated, and I don't expect anybody to have any sympathy for me. I came here on my own. I'm an adult. I handle things every day like an adult, and people don't like because I'm opinionated. People don't like because I will cuss him out on the spot, because they didn't see other parts of what's going on. If I just was sitting here and then just did it, then okay. But it is what it is, and I'm not going to stop this train. So, hey, Izzy, many aren't taught critical thinking. How many Filipino students bring home books to read from school assignment that involves critical thinking? Sorry to say, the vast majority are adult babies. I do think the Philippines is one big party, Izzy. Like, they seem to be children. They don't seem to think some things through, but that's not all of them. Just like not all of them are scammers and all this, like Americans. People see me as huge, big mouth, and then I'm a typical American woman. I'm not going to lay down and take it either. What if I did what George did and went into a depression because of the way he's acting and nothing got done here? What if we both just sat here and acted like George? Then when is things going to get done? I have been homeless a few times in the US in between marriages, getting out of bad marriages. I've been through everything, but I always stand on my own. And that's part of the reason he loves me. He was looking for a mother, and I kind of knew he was looking for someone to nurture, but he also thought he was fixing a problem. And I'm like, this is me. And there was no problems. Things were smooth when we both met. There were no problems. We weren't out of divorces. So everything seemed to work. But when the good times stopped and life kicked in, that's when things got tense with George. He is intelligent. Like George said, I won't be able to replace him, nor would I want to. The 100%. And so George he's too critical thinker. George is the opposite power person, sweetest guy on earth. And he sits here like he's the most innocent thing and portrays it. And he'll say, I am. Not when you act like that. You cause issues. You cause conflict. Oh, I'm not causing conflict. It's you. If you just leave me alone, there'll be no conflict. Sir, you got to do stuff. And so it's frustrating, especially here. And it's another topic to be covered with you guys. If you come here and start dating a Filipino that has this, oh, it's going to affect your everyday life. It's going to affect you. And there's been plenty of guys that did it. There was that other channel where they were dealing with the land, and I can't think of the name of their channel. And he's back with her already. She's back in school and everything else. Oh gosh, I can't think of your name, guy. It's been a long morning already. But I'm sure she has Tampo. I bet that's half the problems. And then you have the expats that have problems. Sure, I have problems. I have problems. I'm not saying that I'm innocent, but I'm not going to lay down and let him just sit here all day and nothing. He's not, there's no, if George was making $50,000 a month off this channel and then he was paying for everything, does that fix things? No, but it would help. You know, we're not exactly full of money. There are money issues. He knows about that, and he's refusing to change anything about that. That's another problem. So problems in paradise, yeah, it does happen. Our problems did not stop when we came to the Philippines. The most critical bitches on YouTube that are out there, including some in the US, they're judging these vloggers that are in the Philippines, okay, when they're not even looking at their own back door. The 3 or 4 channels I've seen that talked about us, they got their own damn issues. Okay. And, you know, and it's all negated when you talk about my size. It's all negated when you call me names. That just means you're taking it all so personal. You're not making content. You're making bullshit. That's what's going on. Yeah. I mean, I love him and I know he loves me, but here's the thing, like he wanted me to calm down the other day for people, then where is he now? He had the ability to come, be here, get dressed, and be down here. He's upstairs. He had the ability to come, and he's not. Where is he? So who's what? He was called out yesterday and the day before, and if you ask him, are you going to do the live stream? You know what I get? Nah. He won't say yes or even no. That's his sound. Yeah. And I'm like, wow, that's your answer. So it's so mature. And here's the thing, at this point, or probably any point, you know, I'm not going to up and pack and leave. A few people said, go home. And I'm like, over one fight? No, it's not that bad. Like, what's up? Did my Filipino term deliberate English phrase dead malice, which refers to a state of indifference and deliberate ignorance. And it's kind of crazy. Good Lord, yes, and not even know why they aren't talking. Yeah, I mean, the fact, you know, and when I mentioned that the other day to him, that you stop doing a lot of things, do you know what he does? He does even less, and it's been like that for a year. He just takes away extra things. Now I'm down to basics with him. And then when I admitted that, oh, I missed when you did more things, he'll go, exactly. And I'm like, who are you trying to teach a lesson? You're only teaching me to be upset with you that you're not, it's not really mature to have me do every single thing when you gave me food poisoning and brought me that food and admitted to it. It's not okay when I'm sick. And there's just so many different things. He knows he's causing stress on my lupus. I'm causing my own. So I will take that responsibility, but it's just crazy. And the people that are passing judgment on their channel, listen up tight, bitches. I've seen your channels and you got your own issues. Make the content, get more views for me. But you got issues and I wouldn't dare waste my time covering you guys. I mean, I think about that and I'm like, bitches, you do know you have your own issues, right? Why would you recommend Filipino men, or would you? Yes, of course. because there is a lot of good that is in our marriage. I would make sure that he's communicating. I thought in the beginning George's silence was cutesy. And I'm sure the other women he dated thought the same thing. He also used his charm with a lot of single women that had kids. That charm didn't carry over for me. My kids were adults, but that seemed to be his charm on a few of his dates. And it just didn't work for me. So a lot of women seen him as a father figure for their kids and that he's super sweet and patient, but that all flips. And when George went the other day and stated that he hasn't had any problems in the United States dating, and I just wanted to bust out on that one 100%. There are problems all over the world, okay? And George did. George did, just like I've had dating issues. Not going to sit there and say I never. I mean, he flat out sat there and said that. You did. You've talked about it. Go look at all of our other videos. He has actually mentioned some of his issues. He had problems. He tried to say he didn't have no issues with American women. Are you kidding me? George is a good person, most definitely. He's a likable guy, and it's where it is. But you have to be mature. You just can't be a 12-year-old kid and be a man and give it to me when you're ready. It doesn't work like that. For me, it's got to be the give and take balance. You can't sit here and ignore somebody in the house for a week. For what purpose? And then all of a sudden just flip out and be like, hi, and it's getting old and quick. And when the other party gives up and he's already given up, then that's when the issues will set in. But I've been through a lot, so it just doesn't go down like that. So I'm Filipino when your wife and husband make Tampo. Panay is not talking because you don't give enough allowance for the kids, mama, papa, tita, cousin, etc. Yeah, here's the problem. It's not like that with his family. They're middle class, so they bought him a used car, which I feel is causing an issue because he used to take the Jeeps, Trikney, and cabs to go visit him. Now that he has a car, he just comes and goes constantly over there. There's nothing wrong. There are no fights about that. I don't care if he stays a month over there. But you got to call me and say goodnight. You got to say something to me. He acts like he's living the single life. What if your Filipino or wife or husband did that to you? With nothing going on. No fights, nothing going on. He says every 3 days I'm off the chain. And then for him, I think that's what he wants to do. He just asks to go to the family's house or just say, hey, I'm going. Or he just goes. If you're wanting to disappear for 5 days or 4 days, he's going to do it anyways. Nobody controls George. I do not rule this house. As you can see, he does. Now, yeah, I said shut down the live. That's a lot different. He wanted me to show my ass. That's what he wanted. So at that point, I had just had it. But it's just where it is. There is no money going to his family. But most Filipinos will be giving out money, yes. And when you cut the money off, that's a problem. For me, it's the kind of the opposite. He got a car from him that was used. Now it needs repairs. And now he uses it he doesn't go other places. He goes and hangs out with the family. And I'm not going to go. My wife used to try Tampo, but she learned fast that I wouldn't tolerate the crap, and I started forcing her to talk to me. See, and when I do, and I say, George, you need to talk to me, he goes even further away. And that's what's been going on. Or it causes a major fight. It's caused some really major fights. So it's where it goes. Tampo, me leaving for the day and not looking at my phone, right? As a Filipino, when someone makes Tampo, I go Deadma and let them stew. And I do, but George goes too far, forever. Yeah, there is no allowance. Bills are paid, money is available. He can take whatever money. He has the money coming into the account. Money is a problem to some extent because he knew we needed more money a while back, and I'd like to save more money with what's going on in the world right now, but he won't help on that either. So he's just it's just like a total deadlock. What do you call that? Stalemate. That's where it is. He said he didn't come here to get a full-time job, and he won't get one. He has warned me 6 times in the last few months. And I'm like, okay, George. So, and that's with no fighting. You can say it nasty. You can ask nicely. You can wait a month and then ask him nicely, and then he'll just stop talking to you for the rest of the day. And I'm like, oh, all I was mentioning was something about the trash man coming. So that's what I deal with. And it's difficult. He's the most difficult person. Do I feel it's part Filipino? I think it is. Ha ha ha. Yeah, tempo duration can be changed with money. Not with George. Nothing can. I've thrown God in there. I've thrown counseling in there. I've thrown, in the United States, it kind of worked. Because if it got down to brass tacks, I didn't have a problem. Now that I'm somewhere that I can't fully act out, then for me, it's a problem. I don't have my family around. He knows that I'm lonely. He knows that I need him to do certain things and to get around. And I think he's using it, guys. I really do. That's where I think it is. Money, for a female, that'll work. If you cut her money off, George doesn't care. He doesn't care. He just doesn't care. Doesn't care. That's the bad part. And now he uses the family as a hideout. So it's and I know that's where he is. And if your woman or husband did that to you and that was the deal, most of them would say, then yes, Heidi, you're the one that needs to leave if that's the way it is. But for me at this point, it's just not worth doing that. I would not want to be in a house where someone's walking around sulking for hours a day, either talking it out or moving on to someone you are comfortable enough talking with. Well, here's the thing. Like I said, I'm a nag and I do complain, but I don't think that's worth me being ignored for days at a time. So he'll bring things up like you complain about the weather, you complain about how the water comes out of the sink super slow. You complain about like if something's going on with the cats, or and I'm like, George, I'm just talking to you. He sees it as hyper like sensitive. Like I'm just complaining all the time. I did that in Florida. It just now become a problem. It's just me talking with you. And so it just came down to, you know, I don't sit around and sulk. I know you're not talking about me, but the Tampo goes so bad, it doesn't matter. If it doesn't go his way, then it goes no way at all. So, yeah. You guys have the same Zodiac. Ah, I'm glad you asked, Lack of Spot. How about this one? Let me tell you exactly what I've been told. We are both Cancer. We are both Cancer. And according to the Zodiac and people that have talked to us, it'll never work. Ever. They said that we're both together as Cancer are the worst setup couple. We're passionate as far as our love, like love life is great. Like when we do things, if we go to the movies or a festival, we're like fun in a bag. But when it comes to him and personal responsibility of doing things or planning a funeral or planning things, George will wait to the last minute to pay an electric bill. When I met him, he was so delayed on everything. He only knows how to work hard. And then it's kind of like the men that go to work and come home to their wives. I'm the one that does the cooking, cleaning, paying the bills, and very strong type, organizing type. Like when I worked at the television studio and all these other things I did, I can organize, but I have my limits. I'm like a 1, 2, 3 person. If something goes wrong 3 or 4 times in a day and I'm in pain, sure, I lash out. But usually a loved one should be supportive. You should be able to say, hey, let me take over. Hey, I'll feed the cats. Do you mind? None of that. It's like talking to a box when it comes to things. But when things have gotten tense, I do have issues. Like when the pandemic and things were getting bad, like what's going on in Los Angeles. That if we were in LA, I might be shorting out. But if you have a supportive spouse that'll balance that, it kind of helps. But I wouldn't know. And waiting to go to the steakhouse, right? Gio had to cook. Are most Filipinos just used to grow up having maids in general? I don't think so, but he did. His family has had maids. Like currently over at the family house, they've got someone over there as a. They bring in someone to do their laundry. They bring in housekeepers. They've got a nanny for the grandkid. So when he's over there, he's living his best life, I guess. And he does like spending time with the family, and I get it. But if you was that when we were in Florida, there was no family. He has family, but he didn't go spend all that time either. So now he wants to spend time with his family. That is fine. Did you notice that versus American, perhaps? You talking about like dating the guys or him when he was there? I noticed I've dated 4 men when they got to their country, they changed. 3 of them have. George is one of them. The guy from Britain did the exact same thing, was a switch out, and then the Middle Eastern guy was strange when he got to his country. And then after he got back, after seeing his family where they had kids, he insisted on the baby right away. And I was nearing, let's see, that was 40, 35, 36. I already had teenagers at that point, and he said he didn't need kids. But he did switch out, and he became more verbal. And so, how many women are watching? Yeah. No, this is a channel where we know most of them are watching because they're coming here. We know most of them are just YouTubers. They've been watching for years, or they watch to see things, or they want to come in and say hi. And we don't have problems, or I don't have problem. But mostly they're guys, and most of them are like, "Oh, George, I would leave, and I wouldn't deal with her attacking me on air." Yeah, I get it. I really do. But only me and him know. You definitely getting an earful now. And again, he was asked for 2 days to come to the live, and this wasn't what it was going to be, not really. Oh, sorry, hold on. Does George have friends outside his family that hangs out? Yes, he has quite a few here. A lot of them. It's me that doesn't. I don't have anybody here that I go out with. I don't have any family members. I don't have, pretty much it's trips to the mall, trips with him. I'm happy. I'm Cancer. I'm a household person. I love the being able to cook, clean. My day is consumed with this stuff. But the other part is, you know, I don't. So then I get to see my family on video. I get to talk to my friends. And so, and then of course there's people in the neighborhood and stuff, but that's not going to change for me. He has the ability and does. As a matter of fact, he's been on several semi vacations, gone to funerals and other family events without me. So he's been out, he does things. I don't hold him back. People would think that I just keep him locked down in the house, and I don't. This man goes and does what he wants, sleeps when he wants, says what he wants. So you guys, he's a free bird, and I have my limits. I've been capping it, and capping it, and he was capping me right before the live started. And I've said that, he has said that. If you guys see us and we come on and he's being silent, that means there was an argument beforehand. So, but he does. Gio went out to eat and left her at home. Right. I'm checking out. Hey, what's going on, Mike and Venus? Good to see you guys. Good morning. George went to the U.S. as an adult. Does George have family? Yeah, George does. George went to U.S. He was an adult. He had already had a child and a fiance here. He had already graduated college. Does he have family in the Philippines? Yes. And he has family in California, Florida. I don't think they're outside of those areas. So I'm not talking about, yeah. No, he has U.S. children and Filipino here. And no. A term for someone not acting right could be Maculet, Tapo, Sira, Ulo, I can't, I'm not saying that right. Oh, we all suffer some sort of depression. I have anxiety. I don't think it's sad. He's always been like this. Even in the United States, he showed Tampo. which like I used to send him messages in the beginning when he was like either at work. Now, did I bother him at work sometimes? And then he said that he had to stop working because of the stuff I did. Yeah, we had some issues in the beginning, but in general, if I don't ask him a question, he won't respond to the messages. So if I go through and say something like, "Oh, well, I had a good time at the Christmas party and we had lots of good food," and then I'll come in and send another message. He doesn't do a thumbs up. He doesn't do, "Oh, well, that party sounds great." There's no like real communication. I have to say something. If you were at that party, would you have drank the red wine? He may or may not answer. And so when I wouldn't get answers from him for 2 days, I thought I did something. He wouldn't respond to anything. He said he was reading it, but he turns off notifications too. So I can't, or the reading, I can't even see if he's read it. That's the type of person he is. So Andy's a super private person. We're married and he still acts like he's a single person. Now, on the outside, it would look like he's cheating or he's sneaking around, or it's just, I already know that's the way he was. So if all of a sudden he did that behavior, then I would be like, oh, something's up. But depression, no. I just think he's a very stubborn person like I am, and we're just fire and ice, but love each other. The typical of a man thinking of a spinner 24/7. Patriot life. I think George regrets leaving the U.S. Not with what's going on in the US, and he was having his own medical issues, so his blood pressure was out of control. He was working 16-hour days. There was a lot of different things going on. We were in the pandemic, so yes and no. We both have made the statement recently that we're glad we left. So I wouldn't say that. I probably regret more than he does. I wish I had my family around because I didn't think I would be sitting here where nobody was sitting here talking to me. So it's a kind of if my family was here, then I would just go to their house and hang out, or I would go somewhere with, one of my kids or something and go back to what I was. So now he gets to do that and I don't. And it's kind of, and I get it. We can't change any of that. So you will miss your family. No, not at all. I don't feel his family is. I just think, as a matter of fact, I know his family works a lot. I know he gets to spend time with his uncle. I'm glad that he does. He didn't get to spend a lot of time, so I'm really happy that he's catching up and all that. I just don't like that he's using him as a semi pawn. Like there's a thing where I feel like that it's a way that he doesn't have to respond or take any responsibility. I think as soon as things get a little hot, he runs. So I'm supposed to apply the same tactics and not say nothing when he called me X names before we came on the live, and then he brought in that I was doing something wrong or schooling me. No, I don't get to use anything. When I do, then it's a major problem. So will George change a light bulb? Well, depends if there's a fight that day. So, like, if I needed something done, he said, "Screw you," and then he disappears for 2 days. So, no, not if he's not getting, if we're not, no. Depends on the day, sir. Depends on the day. Depression. We all have a form of that. We're sitting here technically retired and just with each other. When you have two people in a house all the time, I understand. But when I don't get any credit and he is given credit, it's kind of the balance is off. So being around during retirement does cause issues. I'm going to tell you right now, look at all those shows where the spouses attack each other and they off each other, or something goes wrong, or you see that there's major fights. It happens in retirement years. These old people are practically not talking at the end of their life. It's because you either get along and you have some sort of communication thing set up or something else, or it's kind of going south like me and George. If it continues, that could be a problem. He's got to communicate, and you can't not, both of us cannot go through and not communicate properly and then stop doing things on the other side. So he'll probably watch this live, and I probably won't get him to do anything for the rest of the month. Like literally, It'll probably just be him doing that and going to the family house. And so that's not right. Considering everything, it's not good. It's just marriage. I mean, maybe not for everybody, but we're not at throwing the towel in, not even close. Spinners, it could be a problem. Finances are usually an issue, causes problem. Not really for us. There is money in the bank, not a ton. We can't build a house, and the bills are paid, but I don't like the fact the bills are paid and then he doesn't have to do anything, and he doesn't have to, he's not working a full-time job. He doesn't have to, like, some things are an issue. If he was knowing that we needed money and then would go get a job if he's bored, then he should be spending time doing that. But he won't. He's already said he'll never work here. And it's been made very clear he'll never do a job here. And I'm like, okay. So, but even when things changed, he's refused. And he has said it on air. So I'm not saying most of the stuff I'm saying has come out over the years. I'm just bringing it in a nutshell for those that are new. Westerners are low context communicators, meaning they mean what they say. Easterners are high context, meaning their subtitles to their sentence are silent. Yeah. Yeah, we're just going to put it out there. We put absolutely everything out. We want to be seen. We're loud about things, and we're pretty brazen, and I am. I am a total open book and a total text message in itself. And for George, it's total opposite. I can't get anything, and it's frustrating. It is very, and then when he does, it all comes out, like right before the live and other times. So it's either one extreme or the other. Interesting. George probably feels bad that he was in America for decades and returned to the Philippines with 2 nickels in his pocket and living substandard to his medical professional brother. Interesting you would bring that up, Maximus. First off, we didn't have 2 nickels in our pocket, still don't have 2 nickels, but we're not like living in a place that costs 300,000-400,000 a month either. So that's not true. We brought money. We still have some money, not a ton, but that never happened. And his brother, okay, has multiple jobs, and he's not one of those professions that are making a ton of money. He has some money, his brother. So I wouldn't say that. His brother is just a basic medical doctor. So, and I don't think if he had that sort of problem, then he would do an online job. George would do something to change his life. He's been asked, told, discussed, anything. And if he doesn't want to change that, I can't force him to do that, and he won't do it. So that's on George. He doesn't have to go locally and get a job as an engineer. I mean, as a matter of fact, at 50, it would put him in an area of being old. Like Filipinos refer to their parents at 47 as old. It's just where it is. But why can't he get a job online if he needs money? Why can't he? It's because he won't apply himself. He's not applying himself, and that's just where it is. If he wants 2 more nickels in his pocket, then he needs to get a job. That's where it is. You guys, if a Filipina is complaining as your wife that all these things are going on, then she's being told she can go get a job. If she's going to lay on the couch or TikTok all day and bitch about money, go get a job. It's kind of like that for him. For me, it's not where it's at. Could be. Could be. All the bananas are sold out. Okay, maybe. Good for you, Maximus. Just biding time until he turns 62 for his Social Security, and then things could go bad in the relationship. Here's the thing: he doesn't expect to get it, and he actually said he's probably not even going to get it. So he's not going to apply it, and Social Security probably won't be here anyway. So no. See, you're confusing George with somebody who cares to know enough to say, hey, as soon as I get the money, that I'm going to leave her. No, That's not how it is. If George wanted to apply himself, he'd get a job and then go do something. It's not about that either. And if he wanted to, then he could just live. There's a family house and other family. He can go live with his brother. His family will give him a ton of money and wire it to him. That's not the issue. If he wanted out, he could get out. So I want to set that stage up for those that want to gossip for a while on their dumbass channel that George has all those abilities. So there's nothing stopping him. He is not the typical Filipino. So if he wants it, he'll get it. So his family will just send him money from the US and then it's all over. So he can get out anytime he wants full time. Hey, what's going on, Victoria? What's going on? Okay, I think I will go through and address these in a little bit. Let me move on to the topic because we are an hour in and I still want to do the topic. I'll go back through and answer your questions because I'm not even halfway through. Yeah, I've only touched still got 20 minutes of comments. So all right, so we are going to discuss a couple of the expats that have become homeless and the epidemic of the homeless. And let me bring up some videos that I have here. Basically, let me see, I thought I had already brought them up. Okay. All right. So the girl that was going to come on the other day, her name was Carrie. Good Samaritan girl. She's got a lot of people on TikTok. She has a big following on Facebook. She's got her YouTube channel, which looks to be the newest part of it. And what she does is she helps the homeless expats, seems to be expats. And so I'll go forward with this and stop it when I need to. And she was on the Rafi Tulfo show. We had actually talked about her because she did Empanada Tatai. She did that Munchkin guy. But Empanada Tatai basically was down and out and needed money. Like he was living in a real small place. She helped him. He had a small stand. And we had discussed about expats that need to come here and sit all day doing a food stand. I said, hell no, I'll go back to the US and be homeless first. Before we would have to go through all of that stuff. But a lot of them become down and out, destitute, and there are several reasons this happens. So this girl is an angel, and she goes through and she's been collecting money. Like she has all these things set up to get help for people, and she goes out and she gives food. She does it for Filipinos. She does have controversy because a lot of people say, why do you use laugh tracks? Why you do this? Why do you chase them down? Why do you go and ask other Filipinos to hunt them down? And there's been a lot of comments in the comment section. I'm just repeating what I've been reading. And she gets a lot of flack and pushback. Now, understand she's 22 years old, and with her social media, I believe it's also, I don't know if she works at a call center. I kind of miss that. I know at some point she's dressed up. She could be a full-time student for college. I'm not sure at this time. But I know that people have said, hey, you're just doing that to make extra money. There's a ton of money coming in. We only see you doing so much. But as always, most people don't have like the full story. So she was on Rafi Tulfo. So we did cover her on Rafi and Empanada Tatai guy a while back. I didn't realize it was her recently. So she goes around and she asks people, all right, so there's several of them that she's been working with here lately. That guy that she just showed, I don't have the full story. I know he ended up in rehab lately, cut his hand up trying to get out. I know he's been living on the street. I know she had him all cleaned up, and it looks like he was living in some sort of abandoned place. So she found him on the street. But they say she's exposing because of the way she, like him laying down there. Like we've mentioned, it all probably should be off camera, but it is what she does, and it's how she actually gets the support for him. So she runs this all through TikTok also. There she is on Rafi Tulfo. There was another guy that we covered that was called Tatai. She calls him Tatai or daddies or something. But she called him Tatai Munchkin. There was another guy that has a Filipino wife that's in a bad situation themselves, and he just had, I think, colon cancer, and she had raised some money for him also. This guy here, same thing. I think he's selling clothes on the street. She's covered a lot of these guys, but there's a lot of this going on in Angeles City. She came here, I think, a month or two ago and covered how expats overspend. They spend way too much. They don't plan. They don't set budgets and all of that. Here is a woman. I was surprised. At first, she thought she was an American, and it is not an American. This woman here is kind of strange. I think she's living on the streets, but she's working at a call center in Manila. And I'm like, oh, white woman on the street, huh? And I was like, oh, that could be me. And so this woman is from Finland that works at a call center, but she just chooses to go around on the streets. I don't know what purpose that. If she maybe she's got a sugar daddy or something, like she's got a Filipino man or something. She's giving up her money, maybe. And so you have her that's going on, but it's like they're all over Angeles City. There's that guy again that I rehab for what purpose? All right. I'm going to discuss this guy later. I know it kind of jumped around in a photo, but I'm going to talk about this guy here in a little bit. This is a guy that has a YouTube channel, and I'm going to get your guys' opinion on this. And the reason being is this guy's got a place to live, but he thinks he's all set up legally to sell food. And he said the mayor said he could do it, but he doesn't have any of the other paperwork. And without it, he's really not going to be able to live. So basically, he's a refugee that doesn't have any. This guy doesn't have, like, this is his money. He says you can't get a job, people discriminate, and all this is true. It's really hard for a foreigner to make money unless you start a business, which is bad business. There are call centers. You can do online work, but it would be a struggle. We have said don't do it. But this guy is also running a YouTube channel in front of people, and then said people are hating on him, so therefore the cops are being sent over to him to give him a hard time. And the guy's name is Boss Yummy Vlog, but he's had his cart and the stuff taken, and he just recently, within I think the last week or so, 10 days, is very upset. He wants on Rafi Tulfo now because, let's see, I think there are more photos with this. Let me see. Okay, let me see. There he is again. She was with him. Basically, she was just supporting that he had a trike. She didn't get that set up for him or anything, but she was just supporting his channel and everything. There's Empanada Chat guy. There he is. There's a guy again. These are kind of all over the place. I had to remove some video. There's the guy when she found him on the street. I want to get to this other guy. And then there's a 24-year veteran where there was an issue. By the way, his full name's not being shown. Yeah, there he is. See, he's changed quite a bit. He was living in what appeared to be an abandoned place. All right. So I'll get back. I know I'm all over the place. So the other guy we were talking about that's running the food truck, he said that when it was taken, the mayor said that he could run the truck. And he didn't have a TIN number. He kept saying that he had a work permit, or he was told by the DOJ he was allowed to work. As far as providing an official permit, he wasn't showing that permit either. Okay, so all he had was a letter from the mayor saying he can be in that area selling. Now, in that case, he's allowed to work as a refugee, but you're going to need your TIN number and tax number. You have to register for selling the food. He has to register as a business, but he kept telling the police the mayor said it was okay. And DOJ said it was all right. But you need all these permits, guys. And he kept saying he was being treated unfairly. That's all he keeps going on about. I have a letter from the mayor. I'm okay. No, it's not okay. The mayor does not overrule the DOJ saying, hey, here's a permit for working. It doesn't overrule paying taxes. It doesn't overrule having to have a work permit. And according to his numbers, he's monetized. So if he's monetized, he's also an independent contractor, which is a whole separate thing from being a food vendor. They're two different qualifications. He's permanently living in the Philippines. You're here for 90 days, 3 years. You need that work permit if you are the owner of the channel. Okay. And so he's got multiple things going on. So now let's move on to this next guy. The next guy that we have is, we had that Santa guy. The guy's name is Tyrone Bennett, 24-year-old veteran. He was living in Greenbelt, BSA Towers. He was paying a lot of rent. $35,000 for me is high. Not super high for that area. He was 3 months behind on rent. Okay, there'll be more photos of him afterwards. And they let him stay in the towers. The owner was super nice with them. They had issues. He had a couple different girlfriends. Even one night, he ran out of there nude. According to Carrie and the comments and other things coming in, he has PSTD and he has severe mental illness. And it's been showing. And that's what he's getting a check for. And he's definitely not at a Social Security age, but he's having mental breakdowns in the Philippines. Well, it turns out she went back to talk to them at the towers, and they said that he's had banking issues. His bank stopped working in the United States, and this guy's been living here for years. Here's the thing. I've told you guys before, I don't care. You guys say you don't trust Filipino banks, you won't do this. But he's got like one sister back in the US that's helping him. If something goes wrong and the bank gets shut down, your sister ain't going to be able to do crap. Then you're taking a whole trip back. I still suggest for deposits like that you set up your deposit like I did here, because we were having bank card issues. All kinds of things was going on with my bank over the last 4 years here. I just didn't want to deal with that no more. So now I get direct deposits and I have multiple accounts here now. And this guy never did do it. He just kept relying on it being transferred, from his own bank. The bank shut down, and then he hasn't paid rent in 3 months. Who knows how he was living? He gets tossed out. He's been homeless. She's been trying to help him. He's been sleeping on the street himself. Now, Tyrone, also, there were other things that happened. He ended up in jail. So what happened is when he was thrown out, he took a cab all the way to the airport. No ticket, by the way. He just thought he would show up. By the way, they tried to offer to give him a ticket to leave. Why he wouldn't take it at that point? Other people were trying to help him leave. He gets to the airport. He refuses to pay the taxi people. He just gets out, demands his luggage. He goes inside of the airport and he gets into it with the airport people. Here's some of the footage here. I can get it here. There we go. He attacks not only the security, but at some point they wanted the money, but he had no ticket. You're not even allowed in there. So he's very aggressive with them. He refuses. You guys think I'm aggressive. No, this is aggressive. This behavior I do keep under control for the most part. But he does get into it with them. He ends up getting arrested, guys. So they just pin him down because, and this is the tower. It was a very nice place, by the way, guys. So the guy is, as I'm to understand, just really outstanding military guy, but it won't help if he has mental issues. It doesn't make him any less of a person. He just needed help. Here, you're not going to get the mental help. I don't know how many times I've seen guys on Facebook that are military that aren't getting proper care, medication, and then things like this happen. And he was arrested. He was put in jail. I believe he spent 6 to 8 months in there. He has since been released, and as I'm to understand, he's still homeless. And he never made it back, never got his money. So it's several of the cases that are going on. I'm probably going to come back to the photos. There he is it is, talking about he didn't have the unpaid rent. She's an angel. There he is, still living on the streets. And there's a lot of them in Angel City. A lot of them. There he is, happy. All right, so this is going back to the guy with the business. He says he's been insulted. But he kept going on how because he had a Filipino daughter, he had a right too. I want to let you guys know, just because you have Filipino children doesn't give you the right to run a full street vending. The dude's got a karaoke machine and he heckles people and karaoke's with him. You're causing attention. And it's because the mayor said okay. You have to set up for a full business. Somebody's going to rat you out. He said it was jealousy. Oh, the Filipinos, if you're near their food stands, they're going to rat you out. But he also was talking crap about the whole situation. Well, everybody else doesn't have a licensing and they don't have this and they don't. Yeah, but you can't be out there yourself. You should be going through and getting your TIN number and this, and then he's putting it on his YouTube channel. So this guy without this money has no money and has been down and out. So it's kind of, there's an array of things that she's covered and people that I have found. Yeah, there it is. Anti-illegal vending. At one point, he was a heavy-duty bodybuilder. He's saying when he gets enough money, he's going to start bodybuilding again. He's from the Middle East. No, with these numbers, this guy is getting paid. So he doesn't owe money to the Middle East for taxes. He owes it to the Philippines. He's a refugee that lives here and supposedly has a permit to work. That doesn't mean you get to run whatever business. I know in Egypt, they willy-nilly it. But you can't do that here because you have a daughter. And he's kind of sounds silly going through that. You can't do it. I mean, what guy sits there? I mean, I guess there are Filipinas that put their photos up, but on your food stand, it's kind of odd for me, which I guess really has nothing to do. But you're advertising that you're making money on this too. They're going to know about that too. And then you're fighting the police in the street about, hey, don't. You can't do that. He's admitting on air that all he has is a letter from the mayor, which doesn't mean anything if you don't have the proper permits. So much. But his food all went bad. He lost it that day. So it's kind of crazy. And there are many reasons that these expats have gone homeless. And the biggest thing is they run out of money. Like here in Angel City, they get caught up in buying party favors. You know what I mean? They overdrink, they overindulge in the women. The alcohol and party favors are very cheap here, very, very cheap. They spend all their time doing that. And then there was the interview with Carrie and another woman, and there's some barangay woman that was walking street. She goes, the guys come here and they overindulge. They want to party, and then all of a sudden they're out of money and out on the street. Very common, especially post-pandemic. For the last 4.5 years, it's just become so common now. And a lot of the ones that you've seen today, they're not wanting to return home. Weirdly, with everything going on in the US over immigration and everything else, there's a lot of immigrants here that don't have their visas and they're just walking the streets and nobody messes with them. So it's when they start doing things like this guy where he puts himself in plain sight selling things that could get him in trouble. He's got his refugee status right now, that one guy. But they run out of money and they have no impulse control, like when it comes to how they're spending. Does it happen with me where I'll buy, where I bought the dehumidifier and then got a second one for the house, or I buy something for the dog or extra treats for the dog or me, or we order pizza? Sure. But we still have money in the bank and the bills are still being paid. You have to go through some sort of budget and you have to have monthly income. The next one is going to be medical issues. That one guy he needed a full, I believe it was, did I say kidneys? He had a full surgery. I forgot which one, but it was a major organ. And it's crazy that he didn't even have the money to begin with, and it will run you in the ground. Right now, I've been able to handle individual, and I do have an insurance that will cover me for super emergencies, or my plan is to go home. People have no idea that probably 80% that's their plan. You have oh shit money, a ticket, and you go home is what people will for major medical. What they forget is like some of the ones that are here, that you may not even be well enough to get on an airplane. You come on a wheelchair and you can barely sit up in the seat. They could have you get off the airplane. Sorry, let me get off of here. I'm kind of leaning in there. And by the way, I don't know if you guys can see, that's the puppy right there. They're sleeping here in the corner. Let me give you guys a little sneaky peek. See the guys? There's two of them. Look at the cat. The cat's bigger than the dog. So, um, so yeah, there's Georgian spirit. So, mhm. The next one is going to be, as we said, the bank cuts off. Okay. The next one that's happening probably half the time is the guys are being scammed out of their money by somebody. It doesn't necessarily have to be the Filipino they're with. Could be they go out with some guys. Could be the family members that talk them into buying a house on the land that they're going to pay for a surgery for them or something else. The others is guys are relying on just credit, like they're running on credit cards, thinking they can last until their Social Security comes in, so they're overspending, running on credit. And the other is just they don't have any residual income. So they're coming with just like some people like, oh, I only need $1,500 for 2 weeks, and that'll be okay. I did hear Carrie say recently that expats are required to get an out ticket. Well, some of them don't really get an outro ticket. They buy one of those fake ones, which means they really don't have any way out of the country. So that's first off, don't do that. Don't buy those outro tickets for whatever that they sell for $12 unless you have money. It's better to put it on your credit card and really buy one back home. You're going to need it possibly. And the other is they've been requiring that. It's probably been, geez, I know it's been 5 years they've required an outro ticket, but let me know. I'm sure it's been longer since that's actually happened. So there is a major epidemic of the homeless coming through here. It could happen to me. It could happen to the next person. The most well planned plans for retirement and being here could go south because of money. You just, in any foreign country, there's always something around the corner. So that's what's been going on. So it's been kind of crazy. And I'm sure you guys had a ton of comments and everything. So I'm going to go through here. Maximus. Good comments. I wasn't going to address a lot of these, but might as well. George probably feels stiff that he doesn't have his own income, like SS, and can't make moves even if he wanted to. No, Maximus, I addressed that earlier. So if he wanted money, he could have got a job years ago. He can get one online. He can ask for money. He can leave when he wants to. He can borrow it from his family. George is not stuck. And if he didn't want to go, then he shouldn't have went at all. He's the one that's ahead right now. Okay, he's the one that's ahead. If he wants to leave, he can leave. Now, I kind of feel stuck because everything that we both owned has been sold. We had a life in Mexico, sold all that, gave it away, and could have stayed in Mexico, but we moved forward after that. We had the ability to stay anywhere. Then we get here and our life has fully been laid out with extra money and getting used to it. And now I can't see going back. So if there was anything that was going to happen, he's got a way. He spends a lot of time now at his family's house. He's not stuck by no means. So, oh, Christopher, good morning. Ranting on without George will not put out any kind of fire. It'll pour gas, says you. I would pull the plug and meet up with your hub, get things straight, and pull the plug. Yeah, no, he had the ability to be here, and I've already spoke my piece on that. Next. Maxima, she doesn't know about two faces. Well, if you're talking about on Filipinos or people, yes. I don't put on two faces. And I truly mean that. I'm going to tell you, he knows right off the bat if there's something or I want something or there is no hiding this other thing. He can if he wants to. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, Brian, at any time. I know exactly what you're talking about. And by the way, Brian, I want to address that he said he will not return back to the U.S. with what's going on. As a matter of fact, his parents and his sister were considering coming here recently, and they won't. So George said there's no way he would go back to that mess with everything going on. We're not just talking about the riots and all of that, everybody's being profiled, and George definitely looks Hispanic. So it's anybody of foreign descent is being, profiled. So the answer is he wouldn't consider it at all. There's, no possibility. Sounds like there's another woman. Yeah, I wish, because that wouldn't bother me at all. Truthfully, if he wants to move on, then I don't hold guys back. I know my worth. I know my worth, and I know my love. So they either going to take it or they're not. He said that'd be the last thing that he would do. I thought the used car was his brother's old car and gave it to him after his brother bought a new car. His brother does have a few cars, and it is a used car, but his sister gave him the money. We mentioned this, Maximus. You missed that. His sister paid his brother for that car as a Christmas gift. So it just wasn't randomly given. His sister gave the brother money to give it. So, and he actually had 3 cars. But that doesn't make him so uber rich that George is like jealous of him. George doesn't even have jealousy in his heart. A lot of other things, but he doesn't care that the next person not under the new commander visas are on hold and have to reapply. Okay, whatever that one is. But he wouldn't go back, not with, I mean, who would? I mean, everybody, even just regular tourists are stopping going. I couldn't imagine. He's a free bird. So everything is set up here. I mean, hey Izzy, homeless expats. There is a homeless German national asking for money. At in is that Gasano? He claims the German embassy won't help him. Many don't want to go back. Here's the thing. Here in Angel City, it's the same thing. There's quite a few of them, and there are some German people here. There was one that walked forever up and down Walking Street. I'm not sure if he's still there. And that's another thing, as Carrie did mention. She did mention that um, the embassy should be helping people, and she even made comments, or other people made comments. No, the embassy is not going to help. So at that point, they need to go in. Lucca, you mentioned that twice about George wanting to go back. George can probably get a job at a call center and work his way up to supervisor role. That's if he wants to. According to him, he doesn't want to work. And that's not holding anything back, his exact words. So, Patriot for Life, that's a K1 visa. Gotcha. Hey, what's going on, LG? I haven't been following, but don't break up with George. Yeah, there's no breakup. Because you can't survive alone in the Philippines. I can. Moving back to the U.S. is going to be tough. You know what? It would my intentions under any circumstance. George's medical is probably more critical than mine at this point. He has several medical issues, and I've already mentioned if he passes away, I would still stay. So if whatever, God forbid, I would just still stay here. So it doesn't matter, insinuations of separation. Guys, we had a worse fight 5 months ago, and we have them all the time on air. Then everybody goes through, oh, leave her. Then people make accounts to troll, and it's like, okay, it doesn't matter. We're still together. It is what it is. It just doesn't get hidden. And it's we've discussed this back and forth about this, and there is no breakup, and nobody's going anywhere. It's just where it is. Yeah, it's not happening. Let's see. But no, it's not going to be tough for me. I mean, here's the thing. I've had to do most of the stuff. Buying the tickets to get here, dealing with immigration, which is to be expected, anything that comes up, anything. Now, does he do stuff around the house like where he like fixes stuff in the bathroom and hooks things up? Yes, we have a role. It's it just seems like there's so much more going on. I understand, but as far as I'm already doing everything anyways. I'm the one that resolves everything and all of that. So it's George fits the role of a pretty face Filipino. That's where George comes in. I guess he's my sugar baby. When it's fun, it's fun. When it's rough, it's rough. It's where it's been. Yeah, he could go stay there, but don't know why. Has any of George's family ever visit? Yes. And have you how are you? Have a chit chat because most in laws would do so. Sure. Yeah. No, most definitely. Have you tried grabbing him and giving him a big tight slap? Yeah. It's like you guys should be flies on the wall. Hey, Brian, do you think talking about George is causing him to save face? Not sure the insinuation on that one. So, in other words, me going on today, is it him saving face? No, if you were here from the beginning, I started with my apologies. The comments are coming in, and I'm giving you the slide of it. I'm not giving you the full story. So, I mean, it is what it is. I'm explaining what happened on air, and he was told. So if he doesn't want to be here, okay, if he doesn't want to be here, if he doesn't want to be there, I don't feel what I'm talking about is a problem. No, it's just where it is. I haven't said anything that's insulting. He was told the other day after he cussed me out to not bring anything on air 30 minutes beforehand. Please stop, George. Please stop. Please stop. So I feel people that want to be a punk ass bitch and bring that stuff in front of people are going to get what they want. So that's where we are on George. So he knows he doesn't care about the consequences. And I mean, you think I'm losing something right now? No, no, not at all. You are in no way situation. George got you where he wants. He knows his worth. Cherish your man. Yeah, vice versa. If he was going to leave and go find a woman and do that or go back to US, he'd have been gone. I know my worth. Doesn't matter if I'm a big fat bitch, tall looking, whatever. He knows, I know, and that's where it is. We love each other. It doesn't matter. George is the prodigal son. He came back to the Philippines with his tail between his legs. He is supposed to return to the Philippines as a successful. All right, Maximus, as always. I'm not going to address you anymore, Maximus, because we've already discussed that. So, not true. So, not true. George has thick skin. Yeah. This has been quite the month for YouTube relationships, right? He might there, Maximus. Black. Let's see. Victoria is talking to Black Grandpa. Sounds like narcissistic behavior. Well, hate to say it. In marriage, sorry, it's a give and take. And if your marriage doesn't have to be on the rocks. This has been going on, but it does require communication. So I had a 2-year midlife crisis. How old George? 50. So I think that's what he's going through. And then there's no communication. So then I'm getting frustrated at just everyday stuff. But we're a couple on YouTube that's not hiding anything. So, and he was asked to come, told to come, pleaded to come, and if he never returns again, then that's on him. It doesn't mean our marriage is over. It doesn't mean so you can't do, you can't. George is just stubborn. Is the strong silent type. For a little bit. So, for a little bit. I wouldn't call him strong silent type. Stubborn, maybe. You still have to deal with life. You can't just stop doing everything. You can't say, hey, you didn't turn off the light and then never turn off a light in a room no matter what. Or, hey, you didn't, clean the gutter that has leaves that could catch on fire and then never do it again knowing it will catch fire. He will let the fire happen. This is what I've been dealing with. So it's he knows the consequences. He doesn't care what the consequences are. And you think I'm going to care? Again, let me repeat for those that kind of missed. This is not Disney Plus. This is Dramatic Plus. And I don't give a shit. The money doesn't go into my personal bank account. I don't get bonuses for this. This is just me being me. Use up the content, bitches, because all you're doing is causing my channel to grow. And for those that are adding the extras in this live stream, I'm going to put out what I'm going to put out. I wish he would. He probably needs it. He didn't complain the other day, now did he? And the other day, and the other day. I don't care. You ain't getting that out of me. Full moon. Yeah, it could be. Yeah, that is true. Patriot Life said, I've had friends living in Angeles City from the 70s to 90s, stayed in casino during the day. Rest time, never came out of his room. That's isolated life. There are quite a few that do, yes. Quite a few that do. Sorry, got a message coming in. Go ahead and talk amongst yourselves. Dun, dun, dun. Probably delivery. Yeah. Later on. Hey, Tony Manning's in #1. Just check that out. Your picture behind you when you were younger reminds me of Joni Cunningham from Happy Days. That's not much younger. That was 5 years ago. So, I was diagnosed probably around that time with lupus, and I am on steroids 3 times a day. And with kidney issues and a few others, it's not exactly helping my situation any. So, but I deal with these things also. Doesn't make me any better. It just I'm aging horribly right now. So, and I was never always this big. So, but I'm confident in that also. I love every inch of me. May not feel good on my knees, but you know. Okay. Well, here's the thing. I won't give you guys every single detail. It seems like you're getting detail, just the basic doctor. It's just my figure of speech. And for those that don't like my figure of speech, just like he said and complained after the live that I keep saying everything's manual. Well, let me put that a little bit more to you about manual things in the Philippines. Everything takes forever to get it done and has 10 steps behind it. And it seems like there's way more work. So sometimes I don't say exactly. I'm not going to say what his specialty is. It might put him at the hospitals he works at. So he does have a specialty. So he's just a basic doctor. In other words, he's not making a ton of money. Not all the doctors make money here. The nurses aren't making any money either. Doctors make probably a quarter of what they do. in the US. So he's not, doctors, you know. Yeah. Yeah, that's with the hair being shorter and everything. So, yeah, I was just looking at live streams from 2 years ago, face structure and everything. And as a matter of fact, I've actually, um, it's like I've gained some weight, lost some weight, gained it again, but it's not like that's what's causing the difference in looks. But yes, I was smaller there. That's before we even left. You say George will probably be upset for a month, probably after watching. Oh no, he's already upset. If he isn't here today, then it's like we've talked since the live or since that last live. Okay. But as far as him coming back in, I told you guys in November when you don't see George, that's his choice to not come on here. If George wants on the live, nobody's stopping him. And so saying upset after watching this, no, I'm saying that one, I don't care if he is. So why are you talking about the relationship in the live if you know he won't like it? Like I said, don't care because he knew to actually be here. And why am I? Because this is a live and I'm just kind of going through based on your questions from everybody from the beginning. This has been on now for almost 2 hours responding. This is not scripted, and I don't give a shit. You guys are getting a fraction of the story. And like you said, there's a limit. I'm not going to tell you every single thing. And he can be upset all he wants. Hey, SkyTech, what's going on? I can see George getting overwhelmed with you guys having opposite styles. Well, you can't just give up on stuff either. But he needs to step up so you guys can develop an effective way of communicating. Yeah. I mean, a person that doesn't communicate at all is a bad situation. And then I communicate. I mean, you're supposed to actually figure things out together as a couple. He doesn't have to hold my hand, but it doesn't have to be where he's not at all. And then he just stops. I told you guys this has been evident and told about him not being here. If he's not here, he's made that decision not to be here. So George making a salary of 15,000 a month. No, I doubt that's what he makes 6 days a week. Not going to help, and he'll definitely never be around. Yeah, I doubt that's what he would make. It would be an online job or something. That I get. So yes, that's been. I see what you're saying, but yeah, the guys do too. Oh, you guys are talking in there. Having lupus, you definitely need support. I'm 67 male with lupus. It's flaring bad and I need help. Some days I can't even get out of bed. I agree. No one knows how bad it can feel. Right. And I admit sometimes I'm cranky and then he'll hear me complain like, oh my God, it took this, and that to clean that but he thinks I'm attacking him. So if I make the comment that it's extremely hot and I can't believe that they're late delivering something, it's not even with attitude. It's not even sometimes I'm in the kitchen saying this stuff and then he takes it personal that I'm bitching and then he'll go on and say you bitch too much. And I'm like, "Dude, are you really?" And then it seems like an attack on me. That's kind of where it goes. But no, as far as having the medical conditions, it does make me cranky. I think that he doesn't know how to deal with them, and it does make it hard doing everyday stuff. I by noon I have little to no energy left. But as he has said, that's on me for what's happened. It's my condition. I thought it's not legal for foreigners to work in the Philippines without work visas. Yes, you would need that work visa, depending on what type of visa you have. That gentleman himself does, but he feels he's got a. He said he went to the DOJ. So now, if he has a full work permit, it's okay. He said that he went to the mayor. The mayor said it was okay for him to park his vehicle there and sell things. But what he probably didn't understand is he's allowed to do that just from the mayor because it's a certain area, like where he's parking. But you have to get the permits to park there to do it. And he's saying that he's being mistreated, and it goes on. And then he's showing he's on a YouTube channel on top of that, putting all of it out, and it's probably just going to cause him more problems. So yeah, I'm not sure if you're talking about that guy. He's Middle Eastern, so I mean, I guess it's still a level of light privilege, but he said that they're picking on him because he's a foreigner and that everybody else is selling, which he's right. I bet you 90% of them don't have permits. Like, we have a market around here, and the other markets, most of them don't have permits to sit out there. Then they clog the neighborhood and the outside streets, and they're selling, and most of them come 50 miles away just to sell. And they're doing all this, and they don't have permits, but, people just, it's just where it is. He's no different. It just happens to be the cops came around and caught him, and they've caught him several times. But he's doing it in open. He's using karaoke mics. He's drawing the attention for sure. So wait, let me get this straight. No bank, no access. Yeah, for 3 months, and rent, and didn't pay. Yeah, he didn't pay the taxi either. So when I guess the people, because those are being sold in that unit that he was at, and then Tyrone didn't pay. The woman was waited 3 months and didn't do anything. And I guess his sister was going to try to help him. He didn't reestablish the money. And then at that point, they had offered, like the landlord, I think that girl, a bunch of people offered to buy him the ticket. I don't know if Sunshine Shoulders was involved with this guy at one point, because I know he covered some homeless medical people. It could be he's one of them, because there was a whole confrontation at the airport. He was arrested, went to jail, and I don't know. It could have been one of his stories. But he then left, went to the airport. You're not allowed in. Somehow he got through the door without a ticket. But he also left the cab driver with no money. And that's not a short distance. It still would have cost money. I don't know, a couple thousand pesos. I don't know what it would take to get from Greenbelt over to the airport and through traffic and everything. And he didn't pay them. He stiffed them. And then when they confronted him, the cab driver and the guards, about no ticket, he just started punching people. He ended up in jail. I'm surprised they let him out anytime, but they also realized that he's sick. But I'm surprised on the deportation or some things that just didn't happen. But it happens. It was a banking issue. His bank stopped. And here's the thing, that's what I've said, Georgia said, when it comes down to banking, when you're not living there and you leave it at a family member's house, if he overspent and then the money got flagged, like the account got flagged, or it was in the minus, or a banking statement didn't make it, or there was a change in a card or something, that's when the issues go wrong. And it happens a lot. Happens a lot. Oh, let me bring that back in again. Let's try it again. There we go. No, he was a bodybuilder, and he was saying that's another thing. He kept talking about his daughter, how she was Filipino, and he should, I don't. That didn't really change him on his permits and selling things. It helps, to buy her stuff and everything. But he kept going on that as soon as he does this, he's going to start working out again, and it's like he's already got financial issues, and he's there as a He's here as a refugee here in the Philippines. And he's starting talking about how he's going to start, bodybuilding again and all that. I'm like, okay, that would be the least thing I'd be worried about when I'm selling for 16 hours a day on a food stand in the middle of the street. It's just crazy. He can't be making any money. Whatever profit, it would be little to none. And I did say that at the beginning. If those will go rewatch this and they hear me, what they feel is ranting and bitching because you're just seeing me in a certain light, then you should go to the beginning, where I went through and did state that Filipinos are very kind people, okay? They are the kindest people in the world, but you do have the bad ones. And so you have the bad, the good, And, same with the dating, the same with everything. And then there's just where you just stereotypical put everybody in one box. Filipinos are kind. Why is an American walking homeless in the Philippines? There's a lot of them, has been for years. Make a friend or girlfriend or two. You could crash at their place until you get on your feet. Because a lot of them just want to be on the street, and some of them are drinking a lot, some of them are doing drugs, some are just thrown out with nothing, and they won't socialize. But there's multiple reasons. It doesn't work. Whatever happens in the US happens here. You just don't do that in the US either. Like a lot of these guys that this has happened to, they don't even really have family back in the US, so they don't have anything if they go back, and then they don't have family. If you're homeless in the US, you just don't randomly make friends when you're on the street either. You make them with other homeless people, but I don't think it's not as easy. Party favors. I'm not going to say what that is. Party favors. You have alcohol and other substances. Party favors. Hey, what's going on? Ken Unger is in the house. Luke says I'm in Miami. Sweet talking Kano. I'd rather be homeless in Honolulu. Yeah. Hey, Hillbilly Pyro, what is going on? This is the Meg episode. No, George. I fight with M8. What's going on? Hey, Thera, what's going on? Mine all the time. Yes, of course, Lucca. For those that know us, know that. So, it's just where it is. And retirement doesn't make it any easier on both of us. Additional medical issues. And I wouldn't say it's finances, because with the difference in exchange and the cost, if we were back in the US, he would be working still full time, and just for us to pay the bills. And so it's, there are that the financial is not the issue. The issue just becomes communication and spending time together all the time. We go and do things. We do the channel as an outlet. We have fun. Since the live stream, we've had fun. So that's what I'm saying. You guys aren't getting the full picture. Like, I don't have the full picture of the mountain people. I don't have the full picture of Rose and David. We had the basics. It's content. And usually, unlike others that are running their traps, don't have any purpose of running their traps. You're not making anything but Heidi's a bitch and Heidi's mistreating George and he needs to get out. Nice content, dickhead. It's just where it is. Yes, of course. Or he'd be here. I mean, if he's a strong stance person, it's not that he's going to get it again and he's hiding. I mean, we've already made up and everything else. I told you guys that his love for the channel is there, but he's doing other things. Time with family. He's been doing book writing. He's been gaming professionally. He's been all these other things that are going on. And it felt like it was forced anyways. Truth. There is no allowance. I'm not that ass that gives their wife an allowance or doesn't let her into the bank account. George has access to all 3 bank accounts, okay? And the money is here in a jar. He takes money whenever, and his wallet's always full. Plus, he has his own money coming in, okay? So, full picture. There is no allowance. I think that's ridiculous when people give their wives allowances. We share everything. All the money is here. Always has been. Always has been, Tony. Thank you so much. Never said he was. We were talking about his brother. He's mentioned that before. Well, yeah. I mean, I was already plus size. After I had my first kid, I doubled my weight, literally went from a skinny soccer player in school to doubling my size. And so, skinny kid, active kid, and I ate everything during my first pregnancy. Ended up spitting out a 6-pound baby. And every woman in my family, definitely genetics, and hit with lupus 5 years ago. And was already like plus size. I've mentioned this to people before. Worked out in the gym and was swimming and doing everything else when I met George. And when I stopped that, and then we got to Mexico and was just sitting around, we were eating pizza, wings, sugar. I love sugar. And then since I've been in the Philippines, I've been on steroids constantly. So to combat multiple things. And it's not easy. It's not easy, guys. But I mean, got the deal. You need to give him Tampo back. No, because here's the thing. We can't have that. That's what happened that day. Is it wasn't we've had the Tampo situation. I have to continue on and even ask him things, or if I need something done, if I can do that. But I have to carry on with my day, and it's frustrating that I don't get the help that I need sometimes. But that is not every day. That's when the Tampo happens and we're having disagreements. I just think he's going through a phase, and I do take that into consideration. Hey, what's going on? For work permits, few facts. SRV and 13As don't need it. Correct. Alien employment permits issued by Dole. Yeah. If not SRV 13, you need correct. And this guy is a refugee that claims that he went to let's see, I wrote that one down about him. Justice Department, Department of Justice, DOJ or something. He said they gave him something, but he said that nothing matters because the mayor, okay, gave him permission to park there and work. And I get it. I was around Middle Eastern people. Just because the mayor said okay, he's probably only telling him he's allowed to park there. That's the end of it. Has nothing to do with allowed to not pay taxes, not have your work permit, not have, and he's allowed to have that as a refugee, 100%. But no, he doesn't. His status is refugee, and he's even looks to be making money on his YouTube also. Which I'm sorry, I've told you guys before. In 2021, there was a memorandum put out that people running YouTubes and personally collecting for themselves on their channel, one person needs to be the business person, needs to be the tax person, and needs to set all that up as an independent contract situation for that payment. And they're to pay taxes if you're living here. Now, some people have some other shortcuts that they do, but contact them and get all that straight. But the guy's like out there right now. Hey, what's going on, Slick Rick? So, thank you, Sarah. What's going on again? On the road again. Da-da-da. I watched other channels that I'm not subscribed to. I give thumbs up. It helps their channel regardless. Yeah, just making the comments helps a lot. Really do appreciate it, guys. It actually causes it to. Where did I lose my scroll at? It disappeared. That is odd. Huh. Interesting. Huh. I don't know what happened. It was up earlier. I guess when I put up the videos, it actually took it down. Again, it's something we're learning on the stream. But, oh well, it's not there. But, all right, guys. Well, there you go. There's a fill-in. Maybe George will be in the next time or not. And like I said, mention this in November, December, that he's been doing other things and that whether he'll appear or not, and it just gone that way. Again, I appreciate you guys being here and that you like and subscribe the video, and that we should be back. I don't know if I'll do a live on Saturday, and the reason being is there's a total power outage for like 8 hours. It's going to be from 8 to 4 or 5 here. And so it's another one. So I don't know. I might see about running it on a battery backup or just the phone. I don't know, but probably not. So then the next one might be on Sunday just to cover it. So maybe George will get some more loving. Maybe I need to fill George up with a lot of loving. He just needs some actual loving, guys, some more loving. So, all right, guys. Well, I appreciate you guys stopping in, and I will talk to you later. Bye, guys. Thank you for everybody dropping in. I know. Thank you to the members. I think I passed. I thought there was a sticker. Did I not mention the sticker? I don't want to. There it is. Marion did. Thank you. I think I did, but thank you so much, Marion. I appreciate it, guys. He is a good pet daddy and a good daddy. So, George. Pretty much what he does is first thing comes out of YouTube money, it all goes for like if we go out to eat or things like for the pets and everything. So that's the first thing we've mentioned this before on the YouTube is that's where the money goes and apps. I mean everything between the streaming to CapCut and all the other things that we use, storage. We put everything into storage. We're paying for a lot of storage right now. So that's where it is, guys. So, all right, guys.